Okay then, episode 4 of the Between Reps and Real Life podcast. What we're talking about today, Sky?
Oh, I think we're talking about how we've achieved to get 4 sessions.
Well done, sir. Good job. Smash this out.
We don't know what the watch is, but we've done well to get here.
Mate, that's so... I'm just happy having conversations with you, mate. That's all I'm here for, really. It's just like being sat in the car anyway. Just chatting shit for all the time, but yeah.
So I think today we're going to cover comparison versus reality versus expectation. And it's very, it's quite a big topic that we come across a lot.
There's a lot of avenues.
Yeah, social, and before we even get into it, social media plays a huge part in our comparison, our expectations, and we mentioned it on the last one. For me, even now, that little devil on my shoulder, I'm like, I want to look jack like that, but you're 50 this year, big guy. Have a word with yourself, type thing. It'll always happen. So social media plays a huge part in our distortion of our view of what is reality in comparison to what is expectation.
It's not just social media as well. Like, it's the people around you.
Yeah.
I was talking to the other day. I was talking about like mums and stuff like that. And they were sort of every time you go, or your mum or your grandma, go see your mum, and your mum's always like, hey, "Are you eating enough?" Or if it's the opposite way around, it's like, "Oh bloody hell, what's going?" And so your sort of friend circle, your social circle plays a big part in it as well. Not just the social media. Obviously, social media is a big one, like you say, but your social circle, and then I suppose as well, like almost how you talk to yourself in many ways, and your own perceptions. Of that, so it is a very complex topic.
Yeah.
There is a lot of things that go into it, so we'll try and not stray too far off the path.
I would say psychology. We might, and I hate psychology, as most people who know me.
I think you secretly love it.
I don't love it. It just psychologically breaks me. So yeah, there is a psychological part of it, and how it demotivates you, and everyone's different. What could be demotivate one person can motivate the other. It's like a red rag to a bull type thing. So yeah.
I mean, let's start with social media then, I suppose. So and maybe get the obvious sort of things out of the way, but why you can't trust social media. Let's say the obvious sort of stuff. We know the pictures on there are doctored half the time. These people are trying to make a living off there, whether it's by selling you something that you shouldn't be trusting in potentially, selling you a fake version of what they look like, telling a story sometimes as well to like prick your emotions to bring you in is what they do on social media as well. It's like, I'm the same as you, but I look like this and you don't. So buy this. It's such a difficult world. There's so much good that can be done on social media, and hopefully, maybe we're doing a bit of that.
Well, hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully. But there's so much good that can come from it, and so many, useful people on there who are giving out great information. But for every one of them, there's got to be 10, 50 people just trying to become influencers or trying to sell you a product, or maybe they just want the likes.
Yeah, I think since I've been coming on social media a lot more and doing reels and what have you, I've tried to educate myself on how to do things. And my youngest daughter was like, "You're an influencer." I was like, no, I'm not an influencer. No, not in the slightest. And I know I'm going to get someone's back up here when I say this. Influencers, if they're just creating or content creators, that's fine. But if they're influencers and they're trying to sell things, they're salespeople. They're not influencers. They're trying to influence you to buy something. And I've gone on courses to try and help myself become a better educator to people. But them courses are right. You highlight the problem to the individual. Buy your reels. Look at me. I'm now talking to you with my top off. Look how good I look. The problem is you're just lazy. However, if you take this supplement, you can buy it off me for $9.99. And you're like, what a load of shit.
Globo Gym, isn't it?
Yeah, and they are trying to make, and it's a big industry now where people are making money off social media, be it YouTube for views, selling stuff on the internet, etc. And they tell you you've got a problem. You know, they tell you, and you know, they're highlighting a problem you never realised. It was like, well, was it a problem? It wasn't a problem to me until you just highlighted it. Do you know what I
But
mean?
that's the danger, isn't it? Because the algorithm is such, or actually, it's human nature in many ways that it pricks into the negative emotion more. We're hypersensitive to
Yeah.
negativity, that more so than obviously we are like positivity. That's why the news is always negative. That's
Yeah.
why it's very easy to get yourself into a negative like sort of rabbit hole on social media or on YouTube, whatever it is you're watching at the time. That then leads into people finding a market in there and go, well, people are clicking on this stuff, that they tap into the negativity side of it. I'll always remember when I first started PT and place I used to work. I remember hearing the manager there talk to one of the admins who had taken a call from an inquiry basically, and I'll never forget this. He turned around and she'd finished the call, put the phone down, and I was like, "Oh, cool." Just explained what they do there and what the details are, that type of stuff. And he turned to her and said, "I think you could have done better with that." And she said, "Oh, what could I have done?" And he turned around and said, "Well, what you need to do is you really need to like prick into kind of what makes them feel negative, like those kind of pain points, and then we can sell to them on them pain points." And I was just like, "Oh, that that doesn't sit well with
Yeah.
me." Like,
Yeah.
you're just dropping in kind of, "Oh, well, so you feel awful about yourself." Well, yeah, and why is that? Have you put a bit of weight on recently? Have you? And I just thought that I understand as a marketing sales
Yeah.
tactic how that
Yeah.
works, but there's a morality missing within that.
Yeah, and it's difficult to get that balance because I know for us as our marketing for Sanctuary, we're not trying to highlight the problem. We're trying to highlight what we do as the subject matter experts and how we support you in your whatever your goal is. But we're not going to say you're fat,
Yeah,
you're lazy,
you need us.
you need us. You know,
Yeah.
we're not going to do that. But there is a lot out there. You know, you can't get jacked because you haven't
You're
got
not
me on
doing
your
this.
side.
Yeah.
And I remember doing a tongue in cheek like reel once, and I was like, you know, um, I found a new product that can help you lose weight. All you've got to do is eat cardboard and look at this. You can look like this, and it's like, that's the way they're doing it. Is you can eat this, and it's like, and then you'll see some clever, absolute on the ball. Where's the evidence? And like it sort of disappears, that comment, or it just gets ignored. Like, what's the evidence that you are supporting your sales trick from?
But that again, that taps into kind of probably the sort of second thing. So you've got the negative emotion side, but then you've got the quick fix.
Yeah.
So they'll sell you that kind of hook you with the negative emotion. Do you feel this way? Are you this person? Here's your quick fix.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants a quick fix.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the problem in many ways with the amount of charlatans that we do have in the fitness industry. It's like they're your red flags.
Yeah.
Okay, well, are they absolutely targeting your pain points? Does it sound too good to be true? You're going to lose 3 stone in 2 weeks. It's like, sorry to burst your bubble, but that's bullshit.
Yeah.
First and foremost, have a look at that. Like, have a look at those red flags. If they're there, I know you want that quick fix. It's a part of, again, human nature. Why would we not take the path of least resistance if we could find it?
Yeah.
But people are selling it. And that's again why you can't trust social media.
Yeah, and I think the other end of social media, and I've tried to teach the people at Sanctuary just to be a little bit skeptical. So one member came in. Have you seen the Diary of the CEO? And I was like, yeah. I got when I first started getting into my self-employed business. I was listening to it. Then they started going down the health route, and I just stopped listening to it because there was a lot of rubbish on there. But she said,
"Oh no!" Start taking shots at like a massive podcast.
I'm not going to take a shot. I'm not taking a shot. Yeah, I'm not taking a shot. But there's a lot of people out there who have doctor in front of their name, and they're saying, if you do this diet, this will really be good, and it helps you regenerate cells. And the one statement that I heard, I was absolutely pissing myself. Yeah, I had an injury, and I started doing keto, and I could feel the muscle regenerate. Yeah, okay, let's say, and because they've got doctor in front of the name, and I go right. Firstly, before you sort of buy into what they're selling, what are they a doctor in? That's the first question. So I'm trained to be a doctor in biomechanics, but if I've got a rough idea on physiology and all other stuff, and I've got critical thinking. But what I'm not going to do is go now. I can, I don't know. There's Nate, I've got like tonsillitis. Ah, yeah, I'm a doctor. Come here, open your mouth. Let's have a look, big guy.
I'll sort this
It's
out.
just not going to happen. And if people say, oh, this, right. Firstly, what the doctor in? Okay, so a doctor and chiropractor. Okay, so a doctor and chiropractor is saying that keto is the best diet. What is their sort of knowledge and experience in that area? Oh, wait on. They're selling a keto book, and then they've got another keto book, and then they've got a keto program. Why aren't they doing chiropractor? Why aren't they covering their subject?
Specialist field, yeah.
And as we go through, people who are doctors, there's some amazing people out there, and you build up your knowledge as you go through your undergrad, your masters, and you've got a good idea on what things. But then when you come to specialise in things, it's so small that even I like, I'm going to be a biomechanist. I ain't got a clue what I'm doing in biomechanics except for this small area.
Yeah.
So when somebody asks me about around that area, I go, I'm not sure, but I can use my clinical thinking, bum, bum, bum. But what I'm not going to say is, well, for your gut bacteria, you should be eating this, or you should be. That's not my, again, I've got a little bit of knowledge, but I'm not, you know, as we know, I wrote a book, and it was mostly to just go with basics, and the basics that anybody knows. It was just more guiding people through, and it's not. I'm not an expert on that. It's just my knowledge of nutrition. I just put on a book and then give people ideas on what rest. It's just a little bit. What I have not done is gone depth into nutrition because that's not my remit.
You have to always remain skeptical. I think is the key to it because I mean, you much like me, I'm sure I've been watching people for years, within the fitness industry, within the health industry, within the food industry, discussing all these different points. But if problem is if you end up like following someone so religiously and it becomes like every word they say is gospel, it's a case of always remain skeptical. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. But always remain skeptical and don't kind of sign up to ideology in some respects. But if it sounds too simple, sounds too quick, sounds too easy, there's probably a red flag in there that you should be paying attention to. But again, going back to that kind of point of being a learner, being a student of kind of health and well-being, which we all are, and again, that's why you go see a coach because he's there to educate you on health, hopefully educate you on health and well-being. Then take that student mindset. Okay, well, I've got this source here, and they send this, and then this source here, which, like you say, Diary CEO has had a lot of conflicting sources on, and people talking about different things, which led to people feeling confused about it. That's why we're going to stick onto the basics and keep things simple for real people, real life. Because otherwise it does. They're very good for getting views because they say some very clickbaity type things. But again, it's don't abandon everything you thought you already knew just because someone has just said something in a 30-second reel or something like that. It's difficult. It's very difficult because, like we mentioned,
it's a minefield.
There's so much good information out there.
Social media, and I think I mentioned something to somebody. I was watching a reel, and even I watched the reel, and I'm not intelligent at all. And I watched the reel, and I thought, I feel stupid now. I don't know what he's trying to say, and I don't know. I couldn't assimilate that. I walked away going, "What is he just gone on about? I haven't got a clue." And it's such a minefield because there's so many conflicting information in there. And like I say, I follow people. I go like Diary CEO had Lane Norton on, and he give me that confidence again. He is, in terms of nutrition, he just brought it back to life for the Diary CEO. And I think because he's had a few slaggings off recently, that he's starting to get some people who actually know what they're talking about. You are leading at the area, and that gives you that fuzzy feeling that yes, we're right, but people who have got a six pack and a chest and whatever will say something. Yeah, but he said that. He's in such great nick, and I always say that the noise in fitness, it just makes it confusing. Yeah. And again, what you said is we are here, and we decided on how we were going to do this. We're not going to get trying to confuse it. Now, I'm science based, and we said that I'm not going to try and confuse you. We're going to keep you actionable things that you can do that are simple, and they work. I'm not going to say that, well, they are evidence based, but
it's okay. You can touch on science.
Yeah, they're evidence based and they're proven to work. What we're not going to do is confuse you and go against, say these outlandish things. We're just not going to do that.
I think that's actually a good point there, right at the end, because I've always said it. If someone comes to you and professes that they've got all the answers, again, it's another little red flag. It's like people have come to me before with my clients and stuff, and they've got injuries or little issues. There's I know a decent amount about kind of injuries because I've seen a lot of the common occurrences. I've helped people with their kind of rehab afterwards, but I'm not going to claim to be a sports physio, rehabilitation specialist or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is we'll do some basic things, whether it's stretching, strengthening, that type of stuff, because that's my world. Outside of that, I'm going to go, right, this isn't working. I suggest you go and see so-and-so. They're a specialist in X.
Yeah.
Someone's trying to tell you they can do it all. Again, red flag potentially. And it's one of them. It's a difficult thing to navigate social media. There's so much information coming at you, and you can sit and watch reels, and it feels like you've been on the phone for 40 minutes, and you've watched 1,000 reels, and you're like, oh my God, like I'm in, and like say it's only been 10, because you've blasted through so many of these reels. But I think that's where we mentioned it before, where you need to look at maybe your sources and kind of go, right, is that person relatable to me? So talking about, there's that 23-year-old guy who's absolutely shredded out of his eyeballs, probably a bit juicy as well, maybe. Quite often are, again, because the clamour to become an influencer is massive right now. But if I'm following him, I'm thinking, well, yeah, all he does is train and do his diet and then train and do his diet. But then every now and again he's showing me having a great night out, and look, I'm the same as you. Look, I like nights out and stuff as well. And look at this cake I'm eating. I'm the same as you. I'm the same as you. There's no. It might trick me into feeling it's relatable, but it's not. Like again, so there's loads of good people, normal folks who are on social media, on YouTube and stuff now, who might be like that single mum with 2 kids trying to stay fit, right? And she'll be there telling you, this is how I go about doing it. Again, maybe I'm not an expert, but this is how I navigate doing the school run whilst prepping my meals, whilst doing this type of stuff. And that
they're the people.
They're the people you want to be looking out for.
Yeah.
But again, problem is social media will rise the noise to the top because it's what gets the most clicks, what gets the most views, what generates the most money effectively. So yeah, try to search for people who are relatable to you. I'll look at sports people, for example, but I'm not going to train the same as Cristiano Ronaldo or any of these footballers or anything like that. But I've got a nice diverse mix of kind of what you'd class as, I'd probably say, like the extreme end of fitness. So I've got these people who are there, and you've got the kind of the doctorate type class with your Lane Nortons and people like that. And then I've got normal folks, normal PTs even, who are putting out great content and stuff as well. And it's like, right, I then got a nice selection and kind of go, well, that makes sense, that makes sense. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And you do have to try and curate your own social media. Otherwise, if you kind of let it take you down the rabbit holes, you're going to be in a mess.
Yeah.
Effectively.
And I think the other end of social media is you get people who have started their journey, and they're basically documenting everything that they do, which is fine. It's fine, and you see those that really sort of just show videos of them exercising, etc., and that's fine. But again, once they get to a certain level, that's when they start to they get offered contracts and things like that to sell things, and that's where it gets a little bit more problematic. But I know, working in a number of gyms, that you'll see influencers come in with a professional, and they might only just be starting. So they'll come in, I've got a professional photographer in, I'm going to do a photo shoot with a certain amount of clothes on, and then I'm going to go and get changed, and I'm going to wear another bit of stuff. So I'm going to get X amount of photos, and then what I'm going to do is regurgitate those. And it's happened in front of me, and when I thought, you know, I'm probably a bit naive years ago and go, nah, that don't happen. They're just always good. No, they're doing the photo shoot, they're getting all that, and I've seen it, and then they're just regurgitating the, you know, you know, and again, um, it's it's just feeding in. And again, do you use it as motivation, or do you use it, or does it demotivate you? And you know, you've got a member, and I always say, I want to look like them. You can't look like them, mate. You can't look like them. They're not. They are. That is their day-to-day job. You know, you've got to manage expectations. But what's really interesting when I speak to them, and I say them because I don't want to, you know, I say there's people in this gym, and there's people who know you, who look at you and go, I
Yeah.
want to be like you.
Yeah.
So you know, you've got to remember, and that where you are on that sort of, you know, that sort of journey as such. It's so cliche, isn't it? That journey. Stop trying to look and try and be that person on social media.
It is difficult because, like I say, because having a goal is great, but it comes back to what we are talking about previously in regards to where does that line up with the lifestyle you want to live. You know, if you value, you know, family time and going for meals with friends and, you know, having a few drinks every now and again, there's balance to be struck with all these things, then you're not going to be Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, there's someone who's in professional to the core. His endeavour is to keep, even at the age he's at now, he's in 40, 41 years old, still in peak physical condition. His goals are totally different. You know, like, so it's fine to look up and that and think like that's inspiring. That, like, this guy's also proving that you can maintain, you know, physique, longevity, you know, as you get older and stuff. And there's people who aren't still professional sportsmen who are just like that. I'd say yourself, Scully, to be fair, mate.
I don't
In
go
your
that far.
advancing years, sir.
I like me beer.
But that's it. And then that again, it comes back to that kind of balance of what it is that you want. So you can use these people as inspiration as long as they are inspiring you, though. If your feed is just all these people who are perfect in your eyes, no wonder you're going to demotivate yourself. So this little old you has just started, you know, your first week of training, and you know you want to lose, you know, a few stone, and you know you don't really know what you're doing in the gym, and then you come home and you look at social media, and it's like, I'm losing. I am failing compared to these people, and you do have to be mindful of maybe catching yourself when you are dropping into that mindset, when you are looking at it, and if you do think, oh, I don't look like that person, it's like, well, no.
Yeah.
I don't play football like Cristiano Ronaldo either, like, unfortunately. Otherwise, you know, I wouldn't be sat here with you, master. But it's very, again, it's a double-edged sword, is social media. There's so much good of it. I learned most of my knowledge as a PT online before I did my PT course. So I cannot speak highly enough of good sources, good information. But because of the clamour to become an influencer, to sell things online, to get followings, that there's traps everywhere and there is pitfalls. So we have to be mindful.
And I think to help people follow someone who's gonna help them, I think I go back to what you said before, is those red flags. As soon as somebody says, I've got the answer, I've got the key, I've got the secret, red flag, bang, red flag. And from my experience, you know, I sit with, when I go to uni, I sit with professors and doctors, and I'll say, well, what about this? And they'll say, oh, I don't know. And I kind of taken a step back and go, what do you mean you don't know? You're a professor, don't you? Yeah, this is new. This is all new. You know, we can't, you know everything. We can't.
Okay to say I don't know.
It's good to say I know. And a good friend at Chichester, Chris Vine, he's a doctor in physiology, and you know, I worked with him a bit, and he said, well, as you go through that career and you're going up, you realise as you get to a certain point how little you know. And it's being humble and going, well, actually, I don't know. And those people are probably, you know, the guys that or the individuals that you want to go from when they say, we're not sure, but this is the evidence, this is the body evidence. But however, there's actually some evidence that says this, and this is the weight of evidence that's saying X. They're the type of people, or, you know, those type of people go, I don't know, I really don't know. But using my critical thinking, I can probably say that it's this. And I think they're the people that, you know, if they're going to sell you something, if they say they've got the answer to all the problems, they're the red flags, I think.
Yeah, you have to be mindful of it. You have to look for the red flags. Always remain skeptical, especially when someone's telling you exactly what you want to hear.
Yeah.
It's easy to fall into that trap of like, oh, that's me. Oh,
Yeah.
that's going to work for me. Yes, yeah. And you've already purchased 6 month subscription to whatever it is, and you've got these pills coming because apparently they're going to be, the key to all your success. And just be mindful of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've spoke about it before about trying to curate a good social media and how that looks. I mean, things like Instagram, you can create numerous profiles now, so you can have, like a profile for family and friends. You can have it for your interests and your hobbies, whether it is football or whatever it might be. Makeup, shopping. You can create an account for that, and you can have a health and well-being account. And on that, it can be, positive influencers, people who are relatable to you.
Yeah.
If you're a single mom with kids, is there someone out there who's got fitness goals? Search that up. You'll find them. They'll be there. Follow them. They'll be way more helpful than kind of letting Instagram just chuck up the most common trending themes to you. Also, mindset sort of stuff. I think that's massively important. So you touch on like psychology, but so few of us, when it comes to training, like train our minds in any way. We're emotional creatures. If it kind of, I feel the way I feel, and that's how it is, and it's like there's no more thought goes into it other than the feeling of what you had in that moment in time. So sometimes a bit of mindset training, like having that in a health and well-being feed, will probably help you exponentially as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
So you've got the health and well-being stuff, you've got maybe the training people, the nutritional guys, have that all in one profile that you can just log on to and log out of if you want to, and click onto that profile. Now I'm in this profile. Then I don't see too many people using social media like that. Usually it's just a clusterfuck of everything that you've clicked on, and then like the algorithm just takes you here, there, and everywhere. Like I say, all of a sudden you're watching squirrels surfboarding, and that's where you are. But like you can curate, individual profiles and go down that path, and then you've got what should hopefully be a very positive resource, which motivates, inspires, and educates you all in the same breath. And if you can do that, again, it's difficult, then you're onto a winner with social media, I think.
Yeah. But coming away from social media, and we know that the pitfalls of social media, we've got to look at take into context other things that demotivates and motivates you. And I think my coaching has changed somewhat in the last 5 years or so. And I don't know when you got taught your PT course, you sort of go, these are smart goals. These are specific, measurable, actionable, realistic time frame, and you put them in your long term, short term, etc. And then you get I want your non-negotiables. These are your non-negotiables. And as again psychology, I've gone in psychology. And I'm like, I don't know if I really like non-negotiables. I don't know if so. In a normal life where kids get ill, you have to do overtime. Something comes in and train wrecks your plans. The non-negotiables now become, oh shit, I didn't do that. Oh fuck it. Do you know what? I'm just gonna eat, and it demotivates people to do, and some people thrive off them. Don't get me wrong. Some people, so you've got to learn.
It's all or nothing, though.
Yeah, you've got to get that character, and you go, these are non-negotiables, and they will thrive off it, and they will go on. And if I say it's character driven, or you say these are targets. We're not going to do non-negotiables. These targets, but if you don't meet your target, it's not like I'm going to come in and cattle prod you, and it's like don't worry about it. Next morning is a new day. It's a new day, and you haven't got to ruin the week for not hitting that. And it's those things that kind of demotivates you, and then again it feeds into that reality and expectation that when people like you say you come in, I want to lose X amount of weight at this point. You go, well, let's talk sense. This is achievable. I'm going to reduce that weight because this is achievable. And I'm going to manage your expectations, but that's if you are on the ball, consistent. We're not taking into account because it's very difficult. It's to say that your child comes ill or something goes wrong where it's going to knock you off track a little bit, which means now that target is now a little bit too far away from you. But don't worry about it. You might fall short. We just change the make a new
parameters.
one, yeah, and we would just make a new one for you to aim
Well,
for.
it actually has to become part of your plan, doesn't it? Like, it is how often, or how many people, to be honest, have a clear 4 to 6 weeks,
Yeah,
let alone 8 to 12 weeks and beyond. Like, you're going to have things go off in
yeah,
that time, like say illness, injury, nights out, birthdays, all that type of stuff. Work, like say responsibilities, life stresses. Who knows? So part of the plan is actually planning for what happens when I hit a roadblock, or when I can't train get my 3 sessions in a week or my 5 sessions in a week, where I've missed my calories for a couple of days. If the answer to that is, well, I just stop for the rest of the week and then maybe I'll start on Monday or it's all over, then you've absolutely fucked it.
yeah,
So you've got to plan for mistakes. You've got to plan for the hurdles coming along your way. No one's got again, apart from maybe your professional influencers and that type, your bodybuilder, that type of people. No one's got a clear 6-8 week run. So if you've got a 6 to 8 week sort of plan to lose a bit of weight, you better plan that there might be some issues in there. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do if you have to, you go on that night out? Are you going to be able to actually plan for it and keep within your calories? If not, or if something went wrong and you got a bit leery, are you straight back on it the next day, the very next meal, whatever it is? Like, you've got to plan ahead for those things, and that's where the realism comes in. It's like, are you being realistic that you can be this rigid for that amount of time? And what happens when you can't be? Do you just abandon the whole process, or have you got a mechanism in place to go, right, no, I'm going to start back tomorrow. Just one meal. It's just one day. I just slightly went over calories. I've not been able to train this week because I've been ill, but I've stayed within my calories. These are all parts of again, making the plan. It's like you obviously probably have the same sort of thing from your military background, where there'll be a best case scenario and there's a worst case scenario, and everything in between. So what do we do in case of, if I get everything right, bang on, smash it, then everyone's a winner, happy days, like fantastic. But if this goes to absolute rat shit, now what do we do? And that's part of your realism, part of your expectations, part of your planning process that has to come in. Has to come in.
I think I say we've had a lot of new members in recently, and they've got a social on Friday, a couple of them, and they said, "So I'm going to track on Friday." I was like, "Why? Why are you going to track Friday?" I'm really, I want to. I was like, "Look, your first week in, don't worry about it." I said, and believe it or not, if you track, great, that's fine, but it is quite a challenge to track when you go out. So it might give you the calories in. Not every place gives you the calories. So you're stressing while you're having a social with family, and it's a big event. You're worried about trying to track your food, and actually you're not enjoying the moment. Let your hair down. If we, this is your first week. If we knew this was happening, and you've been with us a few months, we could have skimmed off a little bit, allowing you to not track, just let your hair down. But I would not stress about it. You've got next week to try and sort of control things, maybe come under your calories, not massively, but come under,
work around it,
and then you can skim. It's that, again, go back to the plan. This is the reality. Is we have things, we have appointments, we have, I go down to down south a lot, and the reality is when I get in that car, it's a 4.5 hour journey, and I am gonna eat shit. I'm not gonna I'm gonna take a sandwich, that's really healthy, or I'm gonna take a pot. I'm not gonna do that. I haven't got time for that. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna stop off. I'm gonna grab some shit. I'm gonna get some coffee. I'm gonna fuel myself up and carry on going down. And it's only one off. As long as it's not a full on. This is my normal thing. It's
every day.
Yeah.
The rigid approach comes from a short termism.
Yes.
Doesn't it? Again, so because we want to lose that weight in as quick as possible time, I've given myself 6 weeks to get in the best shape of my life, whether that's realistic or not with my goal, or my goals aren't even in line with it perhaps. So that one day, that one meal matters so much more because you've only got X amount of within that 6 week period.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go, right, you know what, give myself 12 months. Let's see what I can achieve in 12 months. All right. Not necessarily like a specific point in time every time. Yeah, you can have them. But again, real life, you might have these kind of points in time where you go, well, hopefully I'm this at this, and hopefully I'm this at this across a 12-month period. But please pull it out to a longer period of time, then when you do have a bad day, it's like, oh, it's actually just one day in 365 rather than one day in a week. Because we look at things on such a short term view that that's what then leads that demotivation again and go, oh, I failed.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
of 7 days, I failed one of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, then you end up failing the rest of them because you failed one.
It's and Lane Norton, for me, he brought something up in terms of having a break from dieting. And when they looked at the evidence and like, you know, a little bit of a break from dieting, just letting your hair down, not, you know, not bothering tracking things like, it's negligible. You know, it's there's no you know, massive impact. But that's over that consistency. Exactly what you said. If you're gonna, you know, strip yourself down 6 weeks, and you have a, you know, a blip in the center, then that is going to affect your short term goal. But for those people, they get to that goal, then they go back to, because they haven't created any decent habits over that period. They've just literally starved themselves, and then they're going to get to that point where then they're going to refuel heavily, and bang, they're gone. You know, back into the swing.
Yeah,
of
you've
things.
not given yourself time again to learn that student process where you learn those habits over time, and that's what giving yourself that longer time period of like, well, you know what, I'm going to commit to like making myself healthier, losing some weight, you know, getting stronger, feeling better over the next 12 months. By doing that, you set yourself up again in just such a different way.
Yeah.
It's a different starting point when you kind of go, right, now you've got time to break yourself in. Now you've got time to learn and kind of, okay, well, I tried this with my diet this week and it didn't really work out doing like just 2 meals a day. I was hungry at this time, so I've gone to 3 meals a day and I've moved my calories around, or I've done this, or, you know, I actually feel like I can train a few more times a week. So I was just doing 3, now I'm going to do 4, or maybe I can only manage 2 like this one week, but it didn't matter because I did 3 the next week. And you go easier on yourself because you've got that time now. The pressure has been released by the fact that I'm not just working short term to short term to short term, but it's all or nothing short term. 6 weeks I'm on holiday.
Yeah.
So I need to be exactly where I want to be, even though everything you've done to set up to that point is wrong. Like say your expectations, your goal setting, your rigidity of your approach. Like say it's all or nothing, even though there was no chance of it being that, because in the 6 weeks leading up to it, I had this and this going off. Again, take it out, like the moments in time. Take it out to a 12-month period. Take it out to years if you want to. Like you're on a journey. It's good to have goals. You need goals, and you've got those check-in points in time because they do keep you accountable. But if they're so rigid and so short-term, again, you're on the path to kind of just abandoning it and just going, you know what, it don't work for me. And that becomes the issue with it. But yeah, again, comparison, reality, expectation. Comparison, FIFA joy. I like that. We said that last time, didn't we?
Yeah.
I like that as a phrase. Comparison is the FIFA joy. Reality. Again, mentioning holidays. I've said this to you before, didn't I? Next time you go on holiday, look around the pool. Yeah. That's not social media.
Don't get caught by your wife though.
Well, there is that.
or vice versa. You know?
Or their wife. But it is very much like, depending on unless you go somewhere, you know, where it's like Love Island. But most of your normal holiday destinations, look around the pool, you'll see normal folks everywhere. And that's a real comparison of kind of who you are, where you are.
And that's the key word, normal.
Normal.
Not social media looking, it's normal.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I've always said that to people. It's like saying, your holiday coming up, I need to look like this, I need to do that. It's like, you're smashing it.
Yeah.
And in fact, you know what? I'm going to touch on this just to wrap things up because we've rambled on for a long time, as I knew we would on this episode, to be honest. But I remember doing member meetings at the beginning, like when we first started, and we had to do a load of them. And the amount of people that came through my door, it actually made me like quite sad, this process, because I didn't expect it. The amount of people who came in who were absolutely killing it, like training 5 times a week, single mum, 2 kids. I always reference it because it's always something that sticks in my head because they're grafting out there. They are grafting out there. And I'm looking at these people like, oh, you're winning. You're a winner. But the way they were talking to me was like they were failing life.
Yeah.
And it actually had like quite a profound effect on me. Like because I was doing so many when we started out, doing so many member meetings, it's like, have you seen that, it's like a meme or something like that, where like, there's a guy, he's all light and he's got a dog and he goes through his day and he gives away bits of his light, and he starts getting darker and darker and darker.
No, I've
Like, it's
seen
like
that
a,
one.
like just a reel or something like that. Then he comes back, and then his dog's there, and he like plays with the dog, and it makes him light again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it felt like that, and
Yeah.
what was shocking to me and was quite saddening was how many people that I was looking at that I thought, mate, you're doing great, you've got a great job, you're keeping all that together, you've got family, do you know what I mean? You're in the gym and you're doing well, like you're making progress. I'm like, you're winning. The amount of people that didn't feel that way, and it all boils down to all this sort of stuff, this comparison, like, you know, the expectations on themselves are so harsh sometimes, even though you're winning by all metrics, as far as I can tell. And the reality of their situation, it's like you're doing a great job. Like, don't be so harsh on yourself. Like, again, you're on a journey, and if you've just started out your fitness journey, your health journey, then be easy on yourself. Break yourself in, like we always say. Nail the basics, as Schofield's got tattooed
Nail
on
the
his
basics.
arse, probably. Like, and just keep progressing.
Yeah.
That's all it's about. And again, you'll find your way there. You'll find your way there. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of mention that because it's
Yeah, I think it's good.
something
Yeah,
that's
it's
always,
good.
always been
Definitely,
there.
yeah.
But yeah, you're all winning. If you're trying to make progress, you're all winning at the end of the day. So, anything you want to add on that, my friend?
No, I think that's it. I think we've rabbled on for a lot.
We love rambling.
Yeah, we love rambling. Yeah.
But,
so yeah, hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Hopefully so.